I'm gonna close that map, so I won't be I won't be looking at it anymore. So
That
you
way
can move
Verlassen
those.
won't be jumping in
You
the
can
fountains
move.
anymore.
You can move the pieces around as you would like.
Let me
All
close it
right.
out.
So back on the main map,
Damn it. This fucking
Close that.
channel for the charity event is just
gonna have you
shit.
guys go outside, and head your way toward this temple here, and you may.
Ah,
Everybody okay?
yeah, I clicked on the wrong thing.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Uh, and you may enter as you see fit. No problems there. And as you do, um, you see that there's kind of like a major hallway with very lofty ceiling, arched ceiling, and as you walk by, you see that there's different hallways going off left and right, um, and people walking about. Most of them in robes with hoods up or hoods down. Some of them carrying books, reading them, mumbling to themselves. Other people carrying around different types of wands and rods and staves and other such things. You as you go, you peer down one particular room and you see there are four people kind of in some sort of incantation where there's like these incense burning and they're kind of swirling about making little images and you catch a glimpse of a humanoid there and some sort of monster and something with large wings and they just kind of it just kind of continues to move and change. It's almost like looking at a lava lamp, the way that that the smoke changes. The main hallway opens up into this giant circular room with these seats that are like quarter circle pews facing the center. And in the center, you see kind of an altar with this giant glass orb on it. Um, and you see an elderly Cholton man, and he seems to be talking to three other robed figures hood up. But unlike the rest of the individuals that you've seen, their robes are very much brown, and you can see that it's almost it's not robes. Let's say it's more of like a brown cloak over their shoulders, um, and as you approach, you kind of um, hear the end of the conversation, along with um, it should not be a problem. For a small fee, you can easily track down this individual. Um, and the elderly gentleman says, "Shoo, go away. I will not be giving you my services at all. You go and find him on your own. I will not be helping you, and Savras will not be helping you either." Um, to that to that notion, the three seem irritated and almost as if they were about to do something, but they get distracted by you as a group approaching the center area, and as their gaze set on you, the elderly gentleman look over and say, "Ah, new visitors, and I would say that you're probably new to Chult as well, based on the way that you're dressed. Welcome to the Temple of Savras." Um,
Uh, as I kind of like nod to him in greeting, I'd like to kind of be looking up and down these other folk who he just kind of told off. See if I
um,
can see anything about them.
well, As the elderly gentleman kind of turned his back on them, uh, they frown and almost like pull their cloaks even further, or sorry, pull their hoods over further over their heads. Um, but as you see, at least one of them do that, him bringing both his hands up, you see kind of like the shimmering, the flash of a blade or two attached to his belt, and they kind of turn around and they start exiting one of the other four hallways.
Otherwise, pretty nondescript.
Um, you don't think they were there to pray,
Oh yeah,
and
but like nothing that stands out other than cloaks and daggers.
correct.
Can I do some kind of like check to see if I recognize the blade of where it was made or something, or if it had anything on it?
Yes, I will have you give me a. Well, actually, give me a perception check, and I'll add a bonus since you are versed in weapon making.
Do I have the right for perception? Is the stat charisma?
It should be wisdom.
Oh, okay. Because I clicked it the other day. Okay, cool.
Oh,
So as that gentleman is walking away, you see that on him he's kind of got a oh god, I always make this a scimitar.
Scimitar.
Yes, a scimitar. I
Scimitar,
believe.
yeah.
Correct. Thank you. On his left hip, and you see there's kind of like a kriss, a wavy dagger, perhaps, on his right hip. And based on what you saw, they were made well, but nothing to the point that you think that they were of import or magically created.
Okay.
Standard weapons of a hooligan or a of a hired sellsword. How about that?
Okay. Merc.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And I believe Zutimbe was addressing you guys and welcoming you all.
yeah. I'll kind of nod and say, Kellenvor be with you.
Zatimbe brings his hands together and bows with you and bows at you, and he says, "And Savra, see your future. How can I be of help?"
We have a few questions for you and hope to be of better company than your last visitors.
Well, that should not be very difficult for you to manage.
First of all, I'm curious.
Also, while you're talking, each of you feel that not only is he looking at you, but it's almost like he's seeing into you as his gaze falls upon you. Not like in a creepy way, but just like you feel like he's taking you in completely. And go ahead.
That sounds.
I have a question of the utmost importance. We determine this before anything else goes further. Signet ring is.
You're looking for a ring.
Well, of many things, but this is the one that's most important to me.
I see. Well,
I'm just gonna cock my head and just see where this goes.
he doesn't seem annoyed. He seems kind of bemused, and then he looks like he's trying to feign aloofness, and he says, something so small shouldn't be too difficult to locate. Um, when was the last time you saw it?
I normally keep it on my hand, but I can't exactly recall. I suppose a day or two ago.
And how long have you been here in the city?
About just as long.
Um, and so he says, well, it shouldn't have gone too far then. For a small amount, I could certainly figure out. I could certainly remember how to use my crystal ball here. And as he's doing that, he's kind of got this like little golden pan next to him, and he's kind of like tapping it, making the small change in it kind of jingle.
So, despite all these decorations, you and I do worship the same god.
I assure you that the money goes towards upkeep and charity.
Yes. Understand that. Well, certainly make a donation to the upkeep and charity that you seem so interested in, but I'm other things, so perhaps where we might be able to find this thing called the Soulmonger as well. And I'm going to the gem that I had stolen directly into the pan.
So he is very much appeased by your donation, and he states, Soulmonger. What is that? I will need more information if I were to try to locate this whatever it is.
Crow's gonna pull on his Kenku bullshit by just kind of saying what Syndra said about it being a necromantic artifact that is the apparent cause of the death curse, which is afflicting any who have been raised from the dead. It's accordingly somewhere in Choltz, in the jungles, but not known exactly where.
And he almost looks offended. And he says, "The death curse here? I would never." Well, he glances back at the gem that was placed. I don't see why I couldn't search for it, but I'll have you know that Savras's reach is far. But if this soulmonger you seek is not on Chult, you may have to travel elsewhere. He says, it will take until morning for me to divine the location of this item that you're searching for. But I will make sure that it has the highest priority. For if it actually is here on this land, or in this land, then it definitely needs to be addressed immediately.
And my ring?
Fine. So he goes over. He goes over and he goes over to his crystal ball and he starts waving his hands around it, and in a fashion that you would imagine any fortune teller or anyone like that. And he does this for about half a second, and then immediately points at Shava and he says, "There."
What?
You have my ring?
I have a ring.
It ought to have some thorned branches on it.
To be honest with you, I didn't really look at it when I took it off of the dude. But I'll pull it out of my pocket and show it to him.
It is it my ring, first of
Well,
all?
I don't have a description of it, to be honest.
I am.
Wasn't it pickpocketed?
Yeah, I took it off of the dude that was running through town.
You said your face was wrong.
Yeah.
Where do you keep it when you're an animal?
Um.
Your prison
Hear about
pocket?
things like that.
Yes.
It just melds into you.
Okay. Sorry.
You can't ask about how magic happens. It just happens.
Okay.
And
prison pocket it is.
for you, Shava, yes, it is a ring that does have thorned branches on it, and
okay.
and then as you look at it, back then you didn't really put the pieces together, but you realize that on Sapphire's person, he has the same symbol.
Oh.
And that item in which Sapphire has that would have the said symbol is his
Pin. A pin on my cloak.
There you go, the pin on his cloak, and it's a spitting replica, a match, if you will.
Oh, well, I guess it is yours.
Yes, that's. I'm happy to be reunited with it. This is a symbol of my family, and oftentimes quite necessary in getting access to things parties and such, which I need to attend.
How did you lose it?
Assume if you took it off of a pickpocket that, well, my finger, and he picked it up, I wouldn't have been stolen from so easily. But I've been known to misplace things.
Well, that's embarrassing. I give it back to you. That's fine.
All right, I moved the signet ring from Shava over to Sapphire. No problem.
Um,
And it should
Before
be in your
we-
inventory already. Go ahead.
Before we go too far from this temple here, is there anything we ought to know about those gentlemen who just visited you?
And he looks, I guess, unamused. He says, "Oh, just some rapscallions. Some people come to Savras looking for minor trinkets. Some people looking for love, and these, although paltry, are fairly benign to look for. But when it comes to ill intentions, Savras would rather not have his power be used for such purposes." And those three, they were not looking for love. Let's just say that. I would not concern yourself with them.
Him?
What?
Him?
Them.
Back of my head because they had asked.
Oh.
Because I think he had said, "I am not looking. I will not look for him."
Yes. And then and the scholarly man will say, "No, them. those guys. I wouldn't worry about them.
Who is? Him?
I'm not exactly sure who they are, but they definitely are. They're nothing to really worry about.
Looking for who?
And then he looks confused at the crow and he looks at everybody else. Says, "Is the soulmonger a person? Because that would be important to know."
I shake my head no.
He says, "I am very confused. This bird does not make any sense."
I would say this. I say in the sound of the child. No, I don't. I don't tell him his face is wrong. I guess I'm just gonna kind of point out the door the men left, and then I'll say, looking for, and I'll kind of cock my head and shrug.
He looks to the door, he looks at you, and he also shrugs, kind of like trying to appease you. I don't know what you mean, but I cannot help you. And with that, he says, "I must start making preparations. I will see you in the morn. When the sun hits the temple, we will be ready." With that, he kind of gives you guys a nice bow, and he starts walking toward another hallway, and exits the room completely.
I guess I turn to the group and say, "Guides."
Yeah, we could go down to the harbor and find those posters talking about.
I also motion drinking.
That too.
Let's see here. So you're gonna go toward the boathouse, you said, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Let me. All right, sweet. So upon exiting the temple, you start trying to backtrack your way to where you saw most of the boats coming in, and as you do, you see a street sign, and it points to the left, and it says dry docks, and another street sign pointing forward, and it says harbor, as you kind of come to this intersection here.
Should go to the harbor.
Agreed.
All right, sweet.
They said it was at the harbor master's quarters.
Correct. Okay. As you go forward, you kind of follow through, and you don't see really anything of importance until you get about here. And what you see is kind of like this really boxy stone temple in front of you. And you can't really kind of glean any information from it per se, except for the fact that below it and around it, you see many different types of artisans and craft people, smiths, and other like engineers walking about, making noises. There's furnaces being stoked. There's hammers being clanged on anvils, forges being forging things and other such things. So you kind of see that this is kind of like a little, not a marketplace per se, but definitely a place that you could get items repaired or look for something of decently good craftsmanship here. And as you pass, you see that the docks, you see that there are some very regal, long, elegant ships off toward the eastern side. And then as you get more and more west toward the pier, they're kind of like normal trade ships, types of things. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. But you do see that there is a building, maybe midway toward the pier, or midway off the pier. And you must assume that that must be the office that you're looking for. And so you go toward that office. And on the outside, yes, you see a smattering of different papers of advertisements for all sorts of things. But in one section are the items that are of import to you, and those things would be coming up on your screen in a moment here.
In but a moment.
So one of the ones is this one.
Ooh.
Okay. That's one of the
And
other
that's it.
ones.
And while you're reading that, I'm going to... Oh, no, ignore that. There you go.
Oh.
Wait. Oh, leg. Okay. We didn't have two for the same price.
I mean, I guess I could read these out.
No, it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, good. Because it'd be a lot of voices that I need to do here, because we're not even halfway.
That's okay. Just for this guy, you just have to make him be a like a workout bro. For is this for Hugh? Yeah, for the guy, for Hugh, yeah, totally, just a workout bro.
He's one-armed.
That is correct.
That doesn't seem like the best idea.
Dang. Are you
Hugh
racist against
Hackenstone,
one-armed
It doesn't
people?
say if he gets
Damn.
it back.
the ableist.
And these are two different dwarves. Don't be racist.
It looks the same.
Now we got two more for you after Mushared, dwarf number 2.
Oh god, I think I like Kawasha.
He's the free one, so I mean, he's not going to cost us anything.
Yeah, especially since like I am all like the whole
Bet.
Kelmthor thing, and he wants to kill the undead. I want to kill all the undead, so it works.
I
But I
do
kind
like
of want to
using
save
the
that forge.
talk about being racist towards dwarves.
Yeah, I know, right?
She seems rude.
Right.
Does
Oh, and
anyone
you find one more down on the ground. It looks like it was almost torn down, um, and split in half or quarters. But if you piece it together, uh, you'll see this.
Ooh.
um guides has a price on his head right now?
Sorry, what?
Which of the guides has a price on their head? Do we recall? Was that ever mentioned by the we were
Oh yeah,
semi
we were never
posed
told
with
the
the
name.
task of
You certainly can roll a history check to see if you remember.
history. Oh, it's in alphabetical order, boy. That should make it easier for me, huh?
Um, you don't recall the name of the guide that you were asked to make disappear.
Now I'm wondering.
I don't think we were
Can I-
told the name.
Well, do I remember anything about the guide that was being disappeared or no?
It's almost as if
Or do
no
I?
information was given on that guide besides the fact that it's a guide that crossed paths with Queothe.
I think Crow would grab Kawasha's off of the bulletin there.
For last, I'm gonna grab the albino dwarf one.
Watch is my vote too.
Yeah, sure.
For last, I would like Musharib,
Sure.
and he can make you guys some sweet stuff if we get this forge.
So, what I can tell, there's 3 votes for Kawasha.
Like, I don't really mind either Kawasha or Musharib.
All right, 2 votes for Kawasha and 1 for Musharib. And Sapphire.
Seems that any of these guides might be of use. My only concern is if they finish their contract with us.
What happens when they finish their contract with you? What?
They might be slain before finishing their contract with us. If they've got a price on their head, it might not be a good idea.
That's fair.
I look to Sapphire's like, do you want say like, and I guess I was like, the job. For more information.
First one.
It seems like Kawasha is going to be the choice at this point in time.
Oh well.
At least to go talk with.
Yeah, you might as well at least talk.
And I mean, there's nothing that says you can't have more than one guide as well. You just have to deal with the price if you need to. Hire all the guides. Just everyone.
Just shut
Oh,
up
that
and
kind
take
of
my
money?
Let's see.
I don't know about you guys, but I only have 10 gold.
Yes,
We don't have a lot of money, so probably just one guide is good enough.
poor at this moment as well.
And it looks like
all the
Mushari.
guys are free if we help them with their quests.
Yeah.
So that's correct.
Mushari would waive the fee, but Kawasha is also negotiable, so depending, potentially Kawash could waive it, hearing
Well, I
what we
mean-
might be going into.
We should at least talk to him, right?
Yep.
Figure out the details.
Yeah. We could talk to Mushari about what kind of, if I can use the forge and if I can make anything cool. If we recover it.
Based on the sheets of paper that you have pulled down, Musharib says you can find him near the Temple of Gond. And
Did you say that one? There was a temple-like area where people were fixing things.
doing all kinds of armor smithing and other such things. Yes, you just passed it.
Okay. I suppose would Crow know that? Do you want me to make a religion check or anything like that?
You can go ahead and make that religion check.
Yeah, just to see if Crow would know. I have a good idea that that's probably it, but that was the 18 there.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely know it.
Okay.
And then Kawasha says that he can be found. His camp can be found right outside the old city.
Okay. I suppose Musharib's on the way, and then we can go talk to Kawash after that.
It sounds like a plan.
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good to me as well. So you guys make your way around off the harbor. As you come off the harbor, you see that there's like this golden dragonborn running past you guys toward the harbor master office, yelling things left and right like, "You can't park there! I told you can't back that!" and other things. But he runs past as you do that. Coming toward that big blocky temple thing, you see that once again all of those different sorts of artisans, people working diligently on different items and weapons. and with a cursory glance, you notice that there is a section where everything's almost like 66% the size that you would expect, and there are a lot of dwarves hanging out in that area of work. And in that area, you see that there is a light-skinned dwarf kind of banging away on a small piece.
I looked to Lawson and kind of like motion forward because he wanted to talk to this individual.
Okay, let's go. Musharib.
And he says, "Aye."
We possibly are interested in hiring you to take as a guide, and we possibly will help you with your quest, whatever you wanted to do. Are you the guy with who has a price on his head?
And he looks at you quizzically, and he says, "If you're asking if I have enemies out there, I'd say aye. A price on my head, though, not sure. Then again, here in this city, anyone's looking for a quick buck to really kill you off. Unfortunately, or at least fortunately, for any type of murder, you have to have the right forms. You have to go through the merchant prince to do that. So I wouldn't be worried. No lowlife's gonna get a hold of me without getting their just rewards."
Have you crossed Queothe at all?
Queothe? I wouldn't think so. All of my goods are more under the jurisdiction of another merchant prince.
And which is that?
My services be under Akinafa's jurisdiction.
Nafaz.
And occasionally Xanthi. But I haven't really run into those two.
Or have we? So I have no reason to
Okay.
suspect any.
So this forge that you want to reclaim, what kind of stuff can we make with it? Would we be allowed to use it if we get it back?
I'll tell you, with that forge, we'd be making the greatest dwarven artifacts known. It's, let's see, hold on. The forge is great, and you certainly can make some powerful weapons with it. But it's more the gauntlet that's important. It's a piece of dwarven history that needs to be recovered.
Okay. I'm appreciative of the history. What does everybody else think?
Again, I just kind of hold up the other sheet of paper and kind of go like,
This guy.
Just by looking at you, you must be a craftsman yourself.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a craftsman.
I'll tell you what. If you and your band of heroes here can help me, and we can get the mine reopened, you will have a severe discount on every one of our services. We'll patch up your weapons, your armor, for 80% off. And as said on my flyer, I won't charge you a dime. Or a copper, whatever. The appropriate. The appropriate.
90% off.
90% off. Sure, why not? I don't care.
I don't know who has the map, but Crow kind of holds up a finger and goes searching for that map that we were given.
Okay.
Let's
And
see how
I'm
far out of the way.
Gonna have everyone kind of like huddle up around. That way we're all around it and no one can see in unless they're in this little huddle.
Sure, you can motion for people to do that if they're
That
down.
far.
Okay. And
Okay.
then I'll lay out the map and I'll look to Musharib and I go, where? Where's Hirakamar?
You're a funny little creature, aren't you?
Of course I say Hirakamar in his voice.
Right, exactly. And so, with this up, you should be able to see yourself, right? Up at the northern part, Port Nyanzaru. And he points his finger down on the sorry, I'm looking for something to dictate. Here it is. I'll take that and I'll throw that right there.
Kobold.
At the base of the
Okay.
Kobold Mountains, right where that volcano is.
Where is it? We're wanting to go again.
We don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's what that diviner is gonna hopefully help us out with.
And
There, out of character here. Is there a way to all the flyers? Is there a way to pull them back up? I can't figure it out.
there should be. So, images and
images?
maps.
Yeah.
And then they should be. I'm trying to think
You
of
just-
the best way to see them all.
I mean, if you just go to select the new group, it has everything that
Would work.
There.
seen.
Does that help there?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. And Mushrib, in a low voice, he says, "You know, there are people that would pay good money for this map,
And then
and some
kinda motion
people,
to the circle,
some people
and I-
that would kill for it. I'd keep this under wraps."
I folded up and then I looked
What
at him
map?
and I say, kind of looking at him like very like directly in the eye, and I say, Kellenvor judges accordingly, hoping he catches my drift.
And
Who would
Well,
want this
he
map
kinda-
that's covered in honeycombs?
he kind of he kind of shrugs his shoulders and says, "Do what you will." Well, what do you guys say? Nothing.
I'm up for
apparently.
whatever.
I'm not comfortable making any decisions until we talk to the other guy.
I
Yeah.
point to Shava and nod.
And he says,
Okay.
"Well, your help would be appreciated, and you know where to find me." And he kind of goes back to work on whatever piece of weaponry he was working on there.
You guys hear?
What? Hello?
I think we should go talk to the other guy.
Yes.
Give here.